looks like. The lies about Springfield were spread in part by this woman, Laura Loomer, a prominent far-right racist figure best known for her attention-seeking political stunts, who has deep connections to the fringe movement. She was spotted exiting Trump's plane and was part of his entourage at the debate in Philadelphia on Tuesday, which raised concerns that she was one of the people that brought the Haitian migrant rumor to the former president's attention. The following day, she attended 9/11 memorial ceremonies in New York and Pennsylvania with Trump and his team, even though Loomer has pushed offensive conspiracy theories that 9/11 was an inside job. It's not the first time that Trump has met with controversial figures from the fringes of the far right. The most infamous example is probably when he dined at Mar-a-Lago with white nationalist Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes. After that dinner, he claimed he knew nothing about Fuentes' background. Trump can't make the same excuse with Loomer, who he's known for a number of years. During much of the time they've known each other, she has been a lightning rod for controversy. Her provocative antics and offensive remarks have been well documented and widely reported. Loomer is a self-described proud Islamophobe who's described the religion of Islam as a, quote, cancer. Her hateful comments about Muslims got her permanently banned from Uber and Lyft in 2017. 1 year later, Twitter banned her for violating the platform's rules regarding hateful conduct after she posted a tweet attacking Muslim Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Her account has since been reactivated on the platform, now called X, thanks to Elon Musk, one of Trump's billionaire backers, who seems to have little issue with hateful content and posts and promotes some pretty questionable content himself. Just days before she traveled with Trump to Philadelphia for the debate last week, Loomer published a post on X that read in part, quote, if Kamala Harris wins, the White House will smell like curry, and White House speeches will be facilitated via a call center, end quote. Call centers being a reference to the fact that many American companies have outsourced their call centers to companies in India. Now, that post was rebuked by Republicans like South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham and, somewhat surprisingly, the Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who called Loomer's post, quote, appalling and extremely racist. Now, that's rich. When Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks you've gone too far, you've really lost your way. But here's the thing. Laura Loomer may be a fringe figure to the larger American public, but Trump and his team know exactly who she is and the sorts of things that she peddles. Last year, Trump actually wanted to give her a role on his campaign, but his aides raised concerns about her checkered past and were able to stop him from hiring her, which makes it all the more baffling and troubling that Trump's team allowed a far-right racist provocateur like Loomer to be associated with Trump at this critical juncture in the election. But it's no secret why Trump keeps bringing Loomer back into the fold, because she's exactly the sort of sycophant whom Trump would love to have as part of his second administration, a devout loyalist who takes his word as gospel and would help him carry out his plans, no matter how extreme. Joining me now, Zach Beecham, senior correspondent for Vox and author of the new book, The Reactionary Spirit, How America's Most Insidious Political Tradition Swept the World. And, of course, great friend of our show, Eddie Glaude, a distinguished professor of African-American studies at Princeton University, author of multiple books, including his latest excellent book, We Are the Leaders We Have Been Looking For. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for being here. Eddie, I need to speak to you about this because this debate was so important. It was something that 67 million Americans tuned into. They really wanted to see what was up with Kamala Harris, who is a new candidate to a lot of people. This would have been the moment for Donald Trump to distinguish himself on a policy front from Kamala Harris, and yet he chose all the old tropes: racism, great replacement theory, migrant, crime, all of these nonsensical things. It seems like he's abandoned the idea of going for a broader base. He just wants to close ranks with the most extreme among his supporters.
You know, Ali, first of all, it's great to see you. I think Donald Trump is most comfortable on the battlefield of culture wars. He thinks that's where he can excite the base, excite those low propensity voters, those white voters who feel like they have lost their country, those who have kind of opted out of the process. And so what he's going to do is he's going to appeal to a politics of grievance, a politics of hate, and a politics of fear. And when it comes to the question of immigration, because he can, whenever he brings up the immigration issue, Ali, Vice President Harris can then counter with, well, you killed the most conservative immigration bill that we've had in generations. And then at that point, he's not on solid ground. So what does he have to do? He has to go to fear, not substance, fear. So the story in Springfield, Ohio, then is foregrounded. Again, he's most comfortable on the battleground of the culture wars.
Very strange. Zach, we're in the final sprint to the election. As I mentioned, early voting is starting in Pennsylvania tomorrow. The race remains, despite all the stuff Eddie just said, remarkably close. At this point, you would think that Donald Trump would perhaps try to appeal more to the center, to undecided voters, to independents, to conservatives who are disaffected by the crazy that he keeps dishing out. And yet he continues to lean farther into the fringes. There are some in his campaign who were trying to say, let's try and bring some people in who will control him. But then they brought in Corey Lewandowski, who's actually written a book called Let Trump Be Trump. So nobody's controlling him on that front. And then people like Laura Loomer, maybe the public doesn't know her very well, but certainly those of us in the media know her because she is as fringe as it gets in this country.
Yeah, the Loomer thing is just completely baffling to me, or it would be if this weren't Donald Trump we were talking about here, right? Like what Laura Loomer does as a person is expose the lie that Trump's bigotry is somehow not bigoted, right? This is actually very important to him because in this country, we have a very strong moral norm against explicit racism, right? You're not supposed to publicly say things, that were commonplace in the 1940s. It gets you in trouble. It can get you in trouble with HR. It can get you in trouble with people around you. Trump tries to walk right up to that line. And he has this gut instinctive understanding of where the line is. But then you bring on Laura Loomer, who obliterates the line. I mean, you showed the tweet about Curry. She's said plenty of other horrible things going back. The reason she was banned from Uber and Lyft, as you mentioned, is that she said that Uber and Lyft need to ban Muslims from driving their cars. It was just like a truly remarkable series of offensive things. Right now, those of us who've been working on this stuff have followed her for a long time and sort of almost laughingly, right? She ran for Congress twice and lost 2 times. You'd think Trump wouldn't like a loser, but there is something about her that he's drawn to. And I think you captured it well with the sycophancy thing, right? So one thing that's interesting about Loomer is if you look at some of the things she said, she's changed her entire appearance, right? The way that she looks, even like the very foundations of her being, to be more appealing to Trump because she wants to be the White House press secretary. If he wins again, she wants to be part of his orbit. She's downright obsessed with him. And that is part of why Lewandowski, right, has been brought back in too. Reports from inside the campaign suggest that after Harris started beating Trump in the polls, he's gotten very frustrated, right? And he's wanted to bring back in people who he sees as his people, not the traditional advisors who try to corral him. And so you're seeing this move to the fringe despite his very, competent campaign advisors telling him, you got to campaign to the middle and you got to talk about immigration in ways that a lot of people can care about. It's just not working. It's not working because of the guy at the top of the ticket.
And Eddie, you can talk about immigration in ways that a lot of people are interested in because it's a complicated issue that's not been addressed properly by either party. And there are lots of problems with immigration. Some of it's border and some of it's the fact that we actually are short of labor in this country. But Trump really leans into this great replacement theory with Springfield, Ohio, right? He's taken a place that that he has treated as Springfield, Ohio was the American panacea, right? It was this fantastic white place where everybody was happy. And now it's just overrun by these black migrants who don't speak the language, don't even know what country they're in, he said. But somehow on Election Day, they're all going to manage to get to the polls and vote for Kamala Harris. He wrapped it all up, all the conspiracy racist theories into one thing. And now people in Springfield, Ohio are feeling unsafe.
Absolutely. And running past the actual details, the actual facts on the ground in terms of how Springfield, Ohio has revitalized its economy, this influx of labor, putting pressure on its infrastructure because there was some poor planning in relation to expansion of its big business sector and the expansion of the social service sector. I mean, we can tell this story. The New York Times has run a story on this exact town, but there's gaslighting. And what's interesting, I was thinking about Andrew Gillum's phrase in relation to Ron DeSantis when he was running for governor. You remember that, Ali? He said, I don't need to call you a racist. It's just that racists believe you're a racist.
Right.
And it seems to me we keep trying to render Donald Trump in ways that makes him palatable to a liberal society, when in fact he's illiberal. And more importantly, or more convincingly, or more in terms of a conviction, Ali, He's a deep-seated racist. And we need to say that without qualification.
Yeah, if somebody called me a racist, I'd work real hard to try and clear the air on that one. He's not doing any work to try to clear any air on anything. Instead, he's rubbing shoulders with Laura Loomer. Eddie, amazing to have you here. As always, thank you. Eddie Glaude is a distinguished professor of African-American studies at Princeton University. He's the author of multiple important books, including one that you do need to read, We Are the Leaders We Have Been Looking For. Zach Beecham is going to stay with me for a few minutes after the break. I want to discuss his new book, The Reactionary Spirit, How America's Most Insidious Political Tradition Swept the World.
When we started feeding Bogey, the farmer's dog, he lost
so much weight. Pre-portioned packs makes it really easy to keep him lean and healthy.
In the morning, he flies up the stairs and hops up on my bed. In the past, he would not have been able to do any of those things.
Lawmakers are trying to shut down Planned Parenthood. The health care of more than 2 million people is at stake.
Our right to basic reproductive health care is being stolen from us. Planned Parenthood believes everyone deserves health care. It's a human right. Future generations are beginning to lose the rights we fought for. The rights for ourselves, our kids, and our grandkids. Gone, just like that.
I can't believe this is the world we live in, where we're losing the freedom to control our own bodies.
Last year, politicians in 47 states introduced bills that would block people from getting the sexual and reproductive care they need. Where does it end? Planned Parenthood fights for you every day, but we need your support now more than ever. Visit this website, call, or scan the code on your screen with your $19 monthly gift. Help us win the fight for the constitutional right to control our own bodies.
Truly, if Planned Parenthood had not stepped in, I would not be here today. They saved my life.
Your support is urgent. Our rights and the rights of future generations are at risk, and lives are at risk.
And that's why we have to keep fighting in every state, everywhere.
Donate $19 a month or whatever you can afford, and you'll help us fight against laws that block care and take away our rights.
We fight to make sure everyone and anyone can get the care they need.
But we need your help, and there's never been a more urgent time to join. So go online, call, or scan this code now. Sign up with your monthly gift today, and we'll send you this Care No Matter What t-shirt.
It is your right to have safe health care. That's it.
We won't give up, and we won't back down.
We need you now more than ever. Go online, call, or scan right now.
Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors. Easy to apply for the whole family. Vicks VapoStick. And try new Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
St. Jude, they gave it 110% every time. And for Kennedy to get treatment here without having to pay anything was amazing.
As much as we wish our cats could text us, they're not quite there yet, which is why savvy cat parents choose Pretty Litter, the health monitoring cat litter that changes color to tell you what your cat can't. Plus, it absorbs odors to help keep your home smelling fresh. Visit prettylitter.com.
We planned well for retirement, but I wish we had more cash.
You think those two have any idea
that they can sell their life insurance policy for cash, so they're basically sitting on a gold mine? I don't think they have a clue.
That's crazy.
Well, not everyone knows Coventry has helped thousands of people sell their policies for cash, even term policies.
I can't believe they're just sitting up there.
Sitting on all this cash.
If you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, you can sell all or part of it to cover